All right, so Lucky, apparently the app that I used to always use is now a paid app, so I just had to subscribe to that. I'm gonna cancel that in 7 days and re-up that shit. But anyways, it says getting back to the subject that I was at, and I might have to combine these. Was it now 3 videos? Just make it all one video. It says early life. Shapiro grew up in a Jewish family. Okay, which if you know anything about the term Jewish, okay, um, the term Jewish, once you actually go back into the history, you got to go into maybe a little bit of the New Testament and the Apocrypha. During that time period, you had Edomites marrying actual Judite, all right, which is the kingdom of Judah, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, women, and vice versa. You had Judah, Benjamin, Levi, all right, Jews, those men doing the same thing with Edomite women, which is why today you have a so-called mixture. But for the most part, so-called white people are not the people of the Bible. You're gonna have so-called white people that look like so-called white people. You're gonna have so-called white people that look like Lil Dicky, the rapper, which I believe he's Jewish, and I believe Shia LaBeouf is Jewish. Okay, those are two celebrities or whatever. Okay, you're gonna have people that look like that whose lineage through all the mixing and whatever, so-called mixing, mingling of seed of Israel, are actually descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But for the most part, this is where you get the term Jewfro. All right, the so-called white man does not have naturally. He doesn't have woolly hair. He don't have. There's certain on a carnal level. There's certain phenotypes, if you will, facial features that he don't have. But you hear the term Jewfro. Now, who got afros? So-called black people. Okay, not just so-called black people of America or of this particular region. So-called black people. All right, Hamites have woolly hair. Okay, and the father of Ham was Noah, which just shows you, okay, if Noah and Shem had woolly hair and were dark skinned, well, Japheth would have had to be the same thing. People would have had to start off so-called black, dark skinned people with woolly hair. It's just a fact. Okay, which is why that those traits, those features are still. You talking about? Let's see, 2,000 years ago, even prior to 2,000 years ago, because you had the first Maccabees. First Maccabees, when the decree of Alexander, he went out and made all the nations tributaries. Then you had Antiochus, where he wrote a decree that all nations should be one. Okay, when all the nations became tributaries to the so-called white man, okay, everybody looked different except the so-called white. Not everybody looked different, but everybody had a particular look: a dark skin, woolly, to even straight hair, wavy hair. Okay, because you can have that. Dark skinned people produce Esau, so dark skinned people can produce wavy or straight hair. But for the most part, Esau, when you go back to that history all the way more than 2,000 years ago, okay, he was the only one that looked like him at that time. Okay, and it was time for him to be risen up. What is that? Malachi, the first chapter. All right, so he was risen up, and he took over the known region in 12 years. So we're just gonna read a little bit more about this guy. Uh, Shapiro developed a talent for violin at a young age, having performed at Israel Barnes' banquet in 1996 at 12 years of age. Shapiro's parents both worked in Hollywood. His mother worked as an executive of a TV company, and his father as a composer. It says Shapiro's cousin is a writer and former child actress Mara Wilson. Okay, so he's so-called Jewish. Now let's just go to his interview. Now, so-called Jews of the scriptures, Salakia, I just fucked that all up. The Israelites of the scriptures, mainly those that were in Judea, all right, when the Lord was on the scene, the elect of them, okay, the ones who were chosen for salvation from the beginning of the world, they believed in the Lord, okay? And if they didn't, they were converted. They were brought back. Brought back, that's what the word converted means, to bring back. They were brought back to the Lord. So why is it to this day these so-called Jews they use the scripture that I got pulled up, Isaiah 2:2, okay, Isaiah 2:2, and all these other scriptures that they try to use and say, okay, Israel 1948, it was the prophecy of the scripture. It ain't talking about that, man. Okay, it's not talking about that. First off, the majority of these people, whether some of them are Israelites or not, the majority of these people, the so-called Jewish or so-called Jews or so-called Israelis, they suffer from a curse known as leprosy, okay? A plague in the Bible. Why would the Most High bring his people back into the land in 1948 with a curse of leprosy? Well, hold on. Let me get that, man. Just type in this real quick. All tears. Let me see. Let me just go to Revelation 21:4. Let me read from the top. 21:4. Okay, here we go. Revelation 21 says, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth." All right. Not only does that represent, all right, there's physically gonna be a elemental change, composition change on this earth. All right. When them nukes set off, America is gonna become, like the apostle said, reduced to ash, which is the name Ophir. That's what it means in the Hebrew. It's going to be reduced to ash. Israel is going to be reduced to ash. It's going to have to be built up. Okay, so it's going to be a new rulership, number one. But it's going to, physically in itself, the earth, it's going to change, man. All right? You can't have the Atlantic Ocean going into the kingdom the way that it is, or the Pacific, polluted as it is, and things like that. That fire is a cleansing agent. So it's going to be, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, which is Israel, coming down from the Most High out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Now, is this a city and a woman at the same time? This is talking about Israel, proving to you that the so-called Jew or the so-called white man in general, they don't know what the hell is going on with these scriptures, man. There's plenty of scripture, and this is how we talk anyways, man. We talk this way. I don't need somebody to break this down, which I'm not saying that it's not a good thing that there's men set up to break this. I don't need somebody to break this down. When I read this, I know that it's talking about Israel. This ain't talking about an actual city. Oh, and I saw New York City and Kim Kardashian coming down from heaven. No, it's talking about Israel. That's easy. But the so-called white man, he's so carnal. Like everything is what it says. All right, when when Samson said somebody's plowing with my heifer, he actually envisioned a heifer or a cow, whatever. He envisioned that, man. All right. When you said it was hot as hell outside, he actually envisioned you at the underground, at the deepest, darkest pits of hell, burning for eternity. All right. When you went to the store and you took 2 hours to come back to the house, he actually envisioned you taking forever in eternity. In eternity. He envisioned that because he's carnal. That's just the way that we speak, man. And you find that out more and more every day. You just be saying shit that you never knew before you get into the truth. Like, you never knew that had a scriptural reference. Like, oh, this or oh, that. That's just the way that we talk as a people. You feel me? Now, I'm speaking words, but if you understand that, logically it's going to go to your brain. It's going to make sense. And it's going to go to your sensories and blah, 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 blah. And you're going to image is gonna pop up, and you're gonna feel like you understand that. So what did I say? I said, you feel me? But that just proves that we're the Israelites, man. Ain't no other nation of people, especially the goddamn so-called white man, the devil of the Bible. There's no other people that do the things that we do or say the things that we say. So it says, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and the Most High himself shall be with them and be their power. And God and the Most High shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. Now, I was just at the beach a couple days ago for a couple days. I live in San Diego. I'm back here in Charleston, South Carolina for a little bit. I live in San Diego. So even though San Diego is hot, I don't go to the beach out there a lot anyways. I don't see a lot of Edomites that's outside for that long period of time to turn red and they start burning and shit like that. When I was in Myrtle Beach, okay, I don't know why, but they was out there for a long ass time and their arms was red and they was burning. That's a sorrow. Okay? Them so-called Jews in the land of Israel, they still get sunburned. That's a sorrow. Now we are taking these scriptures literal in this point of view, because that's what the Most High means. There's not gonna be any more sorrow. He doesn't mean, just King David gonna be ruling, but you're gonna have Zechariah, little Zechariah, he gonna be running, right? He's sunburned and shit like that. He don't mean that. He don't mean that. The scriptures tell you, all Israel shall be saved. All Israel shall be holy. Okay? We're going to be a separate people. We ain't going to be just some normal people. Okay? You feel me? So how does the so-called Jew or the so-called Jewish man how do they fit these prophecies that they're bringing out? It don't make no sense. And we're just going to listen to this guy. He's the main focus of this video. Ben Shapiro. Everyone. It says Ben Shapiro on Jesus. Okay, which they don't believe in so-called Jesus because they know. All right, they know the Roman Catholic Church, they worship a so-called black Mother Mary and a so-called black Jesus. They worship that. They bow down to it and they kiss it and all that other shit. They do that. Ben Shapiro, their thoughts, and him and the rest of the so-called Jews, they don't believe in so-called Jesus because they know that he is a so-called black man. And it's not a question of whether they believe it or not. They're going to push out to you that they don't believe it. But they know he existed. They know, okay, we got the dates. Oh, you got Josephus, you got this, you got that. Okay? They know it. They know, the so-called Jews at the time period, or the Jews at that time period, they were so-called black people, and they fled this way, they fled that way, and blah, 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 blah. They know. Just like how they knew when they rounded us up, okay, these are the Israelites, these are their customs, okay, they got beards. Hamites don't grow their beards out, man. When you look at Egypt, their customs were completely different to that of a Hebrew Israelite. No matter even if the Hebrew Israelite is a so-called white man. Okay? If a Hebrew Israelite was a leper, he was to grow his beard. Okay? Egyptians, they didn't grow their beards. All right? They did weird shit. You can go and look at the history. Rounded their heads and, marked their bodies and shit like that. They were heathens, and they still are heathens. They did that. So the so-called white man knew, okay, this is the land of Ham. He labeled the Ethiopians eye tops, burnt faces. But he knew, well, these people, they have these customs. These are so-called Hebraic customs. Why did they do this? Why did they do that? Why? Because they were the Israelites. And he knew that. He didn't just round up, okay, well, these are just some black people. And 300 years, 400 years later, we just turned up on the scene and we started saying, oh, we're not black people. We're the Israelites. He knew that. Which is why he didn't give you the Quran, okay? Motherfucker, for the most time in my life, I never thought about the Quran. The only thing that was presented to me was the Bible. Why? Because he knows that that's naturally our book, but he had to take it and twist it and turn it. Okay? He didn't take Buddhism and say, look, you niggas are Buddhist and, you should don't read the book of Buddhism. Because if you read it, I'll kill you. All right? That's going to make you wonder, like, damn, maybe I should read that book. He took the scriptures and did that. So the so-called Jew and the so-called white man of America, which they're the same Edomites of different tribes, they know this truth. And this is their point of view of so-called Jesus, better known as and really known as Yahawashi.
From a Jewish point of view, where we don't believe in the divinity of Christ. I think that
first and foremost, he said from the Jewish point of view, they don't believe in the divinity of Hamashiach. Well, that's not scriptural. How? Let's just let him keep going, man.
There you can make an argument that the Gospels, which were written...
He was just a prophet.
No. We don't even believe he was a prophet.
What do you think you...
Whoa. Now, Ben Shapiro said he don't believe that he was a prophet. But I have right here with me one of the prophecies that he spoke. That you can actually go in secular history, okay? All right? And fact check. This is something that came to pass. Let me get that. Let me get that real quick. Matthew. Because all a prophet means is to say before. Guess what? Balaam, okay, from the book of Numbers. Balaam was a prophet. Was he a prophet of the Lord? Yes. And he was of the other nation. That don't mean he gets salvation. All right? Because he said something that comes to pass before it came to pass. He said, Israel shall dwell alone, okay, and shall not be reckoned among the nations. We're not reckoned among them. But guess what? Who put the spirit on him to say that? The Most High. So, yeah, he was a prophet. He said something before, and it happened. Still to this day, we're not reckoned among the nations. There's no damn G4 summit meeting for the Israelites to see how we want this government to be run and shit like that. It don't exist. We're not reckoned among the nations. We're still blacks and Hispanics and natives, okay, and other peoples that's scattered among the nations. So we ain't reckoned, meaning we ain't recognized. All right. This is this mother. Let me run this back real quick. It's Ben Shapiro, right? Now this is just to show you. The book of Obadiah talks about, I believe it's Obadiah or it's either Jeremiah the 49th chapter. Is there no more wisdom in Edom? And these motherfuckers ain't wise no more. He gonna come out his mouth. He's a so-called Jew. He's Jewish. All right. He gonna come out and say Jesus wasn't a prophet or Yahawashi wasn't a prophet. Well, you obviously haven't read. Okay. Because he spoke things that came to pass. And it's recorded. Meanwhile, if the so-called white man says, look, a rock ran into another rock and it became a big bang and we came out of the water and then we turned into tadpoles and then we turned into frogs and then from frogs we became monkeys and monkeys we swinging on trees and we started putting crowns on ourselves and then we was humans. It just has to make sense. There's no historical proof, reference, no evidence of that happening. There's evidence of the Roman Empire. There's evidence of Yahawashi being on the scene and he had a following. You can read the book of Josephus on that, you know? That's real life, tangible evidence. But the so-called white man, because he is God, Job 9:24, all right? Ezekiel the 28th chapter, because it's a what's today? Because it's a Saturday and he feels like, it's Saturday, I could just make some shit up. It has to be that because he's white and he's pure. And Exodus guys and kings and all the Egyptians were so-called white people and things like that. But this is why this truth got to come out, man. Okay? I'm just let him condemn himself again. Okay? He said he believes that Jesus, which I don't like using that term. He'd say he believes that Yahawashi was not a prophet. Well, first and foremost, I bet if I asked him what does the name Benjamin mean, that's his name, right? Benjamin is his name, his birth name. His parents gave him that name. If I asked him, what does the name Benjamin mean? Which is supposed to be very important to you because that's your motherfucking name. He won't know. Yet this is a man that was established from 17 years old, on TV shows, wrote 10 books. He don't even know what his motherfucking names mean, man. And this is why the apostles, they get on these people because These people, they don't even know the basics. Dr. Eric Mason don't even know what the name doctor means or what it stands for or what his name means. But he going to introduce himself. Oh, I'm Dr. Eric Mason. And you say, oh, what Eric Mason? What does Eric mean? What is the etymology of the word Eric? And you can make these people look fucking stupid, man. Okay? Because they just take what they've been given and they just run with it. All right, all these men, starting from the apostles and the elders, they took what they were given and they researched it. When I stumbled upon this truth, I had to fact check this 100%. I said, "Yep, that means that, and that means that." I went on the internet, and I was conflicted in my spirit for months, you know. And I said, "Well, this is the truth." Okay, you can't tell me that the word "nice" don't mean to be ignorant or stupid. Why? Because I researched it. Okay? So when this guy, Benjamin Shapiro, he's going to come out and say, oh, Jesus or Yahawashi is not a prophet. First off, he don't know what the name Jesus mean. He don't know the etymology, when it came about, circle what. He don't know what language it was. He don't even know that it's a transliteration and not a translation. He don't know what his real name means. All he's going to tell you, look, I'm so-called white. We believe he wasn't a prophet, all right? And we believe that we went to the moon in the 1940s or whenever they say they went to the moon, okay? This so-called white, this man, this is why Revelation called him the devil that went out and deceived the whole earth, okay? Because when you growing up, you actually believe, oh, astronauts. No, I believe in astronaut Neil Armstrong. You didn't know Neil Armstrong was a so-called white supremacist. They'd show you, oh, this is Neil Armstrong, and then you got a picture frame, and this is blah, 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 and he in an orange suit, and he walked on the moon, and he said, this is one step for man and one giant step for mankind, or whatever, man. This man is the fucking devil. And this so-called Jewish man is the biggest fucking devil of them all. Okay?
Significant. No. We don't even believe he's a prophet.
What do you think?
They don't believe Yahawashi is a prophet. I'm gonna let them continue.
I think he was. What do you guys think?
What do I think he was historically? I think he was a Jew who tried to lead a revolt against the Romans.
What is a Jew? Let's go to Numbers 1 and 18, man, because this is. Let's go to Numbers 1 and 18. What is a Jew? All right. He was a Jew. Now here he is, Ben Shapiro, saying that he himself, Ben Shapiro, is Jewish, but Yahawashi, a man of a completely different nationality, is a Jew. He's not Jewish. He's a Jew. He's of a different. This is why you can't take these motherfuckers serious, man. And this is why when you come into the truth, the scriptures tell you, man, much study is weariness of the heart or weariness of the mind, because what can you do besides wait this thing out, man? Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. Because for the longest time, no matter what we're going to say, these devils, they're going to twist the scripture. Oh, that doesn't mean this, and this doesn't mean that. And wow, Daniel 7, the 7-week tribulation period, you know? Let me get this real quick, man. What's a Jew according to the scriptures? And this is why you can just pick apart these devils and just go into the basics. Numbers 1 and 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees, their lineage, their ancestry, their gene pool, all right, their race, their nationality, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward. Okay? So that's what it is. When did Benjamin Shapiro, which he don't even know what that name means, when did his family do that and say, oh, well, look, we go back to the tribe of Benjamin? They didn't do that, man. Let's listen to him some more.
Killed for his trouble, just like a lot of other Jews at that time who were crucified.
He was just a man. He was just a Jew that got killed for his trouble, according to Ben Shapiro. Well, guess what? When this so-called black man, which that's what he is, when he come back, he gonna kill you for your troubles, man. You and your yarmulke or whatever that's called, all right? And people can get offended. YouTube can get offended. They can get offended and say, oh, you guys is cursing or whatever. That doesn't mean that this is not the truth. The Apostle Paul said it best himself. Am I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth? Galatians 4:26, I believe, if I'm not going off. All right. So yeah, man, this is the truth, and I'm gonna say this because for the longest time, even when I started going out there and teaching, when you get confronted by this and you get confronted by so-called white people, oh, so you really believe this? You got to stand on that and say, well, yeah, the history says this, number one. But first off, not even number one. Number one is Romans 8:16. The Spirit says that we're the Israelites. Number two, the history backs it up that you are not those people. Okay? First off, you said you was the Persians. You ain't the Persians. Secondly, you said you was the Egyptians. You damn sure ain't the Egyptians. Thirdly, the biggest lie on the planet, one of the biggest lies, you said you was the Europeans. You ain't even the Europeans, man. Okay? You ain't the Australians. Alright? You're not the Polynesians. You're the Edomites of the Bible. Okay? You came from one man who spread himself thin. And now you can't reproduce. You can't populate the earth. Okay? You're giving everybody condoms. You got to give everybody else condoms and birth control and Plan B and abortions just so you can even stay in the race. That alone in itself is showing you that this so-called white man is going down. Okay? I never even thought about it like that. You know, you just grow up in the saying, oh, I need a condom. What the hell you need? What do you need that for? You feel me? Okay? It's always gonna be the biggest ones too. I need a condom. They gonna advertise it. Oh, black men, we get the big condoms. They do that because they can't repopulate like that. Jeremiah 49:10 literally says, all right, the seed of Esau is spoiled. Okay? But let's let Benjamin, not a real Jew, Shapiro, continue to make a fool of himself.
Crucified for trying to lead revolts against the Roman and got killed for their trouble.
So he became...
Okay, so he's a Jew, a so-called Jew. He's Jewish. He said that so-called Jesus, Yahawashi, was a Jew that tried to lead a revolt against the Romans, okay, and got killed for his troubles, which Yahawashi did lead a revolt against the Romans, and it was spiritual. He didn't say, oh, we're going to take up swords and blah, 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 blah. Okay, we're gonna bomb the Romans. He didn't do that. It was spiritual. He said, wait ye upon me. Okay. He said, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. All right. He said, you're going to be thrown into prison that you may be tried 10 days. Okay. He said all that. Yahawashi was innocent in that physical incarnation. He was innocent in that flesh. Okay. But the blood is still on Esau's hands, man. Let's get some more.
Became legend and story, and it became a bigger and bigger deal as time went on.
Yeah, he had a group of followers, and then that gradually grew, and then
Do you think he was resurrected?
No, that's not. That's.
I didn't believe he resurrected. But hold on, the Jews. I believe personally. Let's Google it because I got the scriptures right here. Let's see. When is the first time the term Jew comes about? It says Esther, and then after that, you got Jeremiah. Let's see. Okay, so even going back to the Old Testament, right? These people, which he's going to go ahead and confirm, he's going to say, oh, we don't believe Moses split the Red Sea. We believe it was a physical, natural phenomenon that happened. But the Jews wrote the scriptures, and they said that they believed. But now you don't believe? Now all of a sudden, Isaiah 2:2, it don't make sense, right? Because he used that scripture to say 1948, that's when we went to the land and, you know, all nations is flowing. Ain't no all nations flowing unto Israel. Okay? All nations is condemning you, devils, man. You got one nation, which is the Ishmaelites, okay, mainly, right next to you, that's going to war with you, going to skirmishes with you. Yeah, y'all are in peace and gay parade and Gaza Strip and all this other shit. Are you serious? You see how this is flawed? But the so-called white man, this is what he pushes. He pushes a false sense. All right? He pushes pseudo progression. Oh, the world is getting better and things like that. Oh, you got Wi-Fi. Okay? Oh, you got this, you got that. No, the world ain't getting better. Okay? And more it's evident to this day that the nations are looking at you like this is the motherfucking devil. You finna go to war with Iran, man. This Lord willing, this is gonna be a big thing, man. This Lord willing, this gets World War III popping, man. Because I remember before I knew this truth, I was completely blind to any of this, man. World War III is on the news every day and blah 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 blah. Yeah, niggas ain't thinking about that, man. So this could very well be something that a big thing because niggas are not aware. Motherfucker gonna turn around and say, "Oh, we don't believe that Moses split the Red Sea." How are you the Jews then? You're the same people that walked through that Red Sea, which is really the Gulf of Suez. Okay, how you didn't believe if you seen it? Your ancestors got the records. The records is the scriptures. Yet he believes that his name is Ben Shapiro. His parents ain't say, "Oh, we named you Andrew at first, but then we decided to call you Ben." No, they said, "Look, we named you Ben." He believed that. There was a record. He had a birth certificate. Okay? Now he's a so-called Jew. He's the people of the scriptures, according to them. All right? Why you don't believe what you wrote? Yet you believe 1948 Balfour Declaration. You believe the Declaration of Independence because so-called white people wrote that. All right? You believe all that other shit. Okay? This is why when the Most High gives us that power, man, hey, man. And I'm sick of, I'm sick of looking at these devils. And I knew this truth about fully understand it for the most part, a good year. All right? Ecclesiastes 7:7. I'm sick of, it's only been about a good year that I fully understood this truth like that. And I don't want to look at these people no more. Okay? They're going to tell you that monkeys gave birth to human beings and you can chop your rod off and become a woman and shit. But these are supposed to be the enlightened people of society. You feel me? This is fucking crazy. In chattel slavery, when we was in the fields, yeah, we was in the fields singing "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot," but you didn't have some nigga, all right, fresh from the slave quarters, all right, because that's what they call it here, the slave quarters, coming out to the field, swing low with the feminine voice or whatever, all right, you know what it is, skipping through the tulips, getting whipped on his back because he like it because he's into whatever it's called, BDSM or whatever. You didn't have that, man. We was in slavery, but we knew the Lord gonna deliver us at some point in time. Then we lost it. That falling away, we became apostates, and now we into this bullshit. And now the so-called white man can just say whatever the fuck he wants to say. All right. And our people, they just gonna hop on the bandwagon. Why? Because the so-called white man says so. Chiefly in this place that I'm in right now, Charleston, South Carolina. You go downtown, it's like all these so-called black people are so-called white people. You feel me? They feel because they're so uncomfortable with being who they are, they gotta listen to the so-called white man. They're walking up and down where their ancestors were sold at. And because we're all free now, let's just join hands. They gotta do that. You feel me? This shit is crazy, man. That's why I said this is the worst captivity that we've been in. The Babylonians, they wasn't splitting up families, as I know it. All right, if you can research it and prove me wrong, then so be it. They wasn't saying, "Oh, your daughters and your sons, they going that way, your wife going that way, and you going that way." You had Cyrus, the Lord put the spirit on him to rebuild the damn the temple. Okay. And that's further proof that Esau is going to get it the worst among the rest of the nations, man. This motherfucker is the fucking devil. This man will tell you that disciplining your kids, okay? Which, I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. I moved here when I was 10. If you know anything about Charleston, South Carolina, there's a heavy accent. All right, Geechee, which that's really the speech of Benjamin. It's West Indian. It's from the islands and whatever, blah, 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 blah. But a lot of people, they hear me speak and they be like, hold up, you're not from Charleston because you sound too proper. Okay? My mom raised us by herself. 4 kids, single mom, raised us, all right, to where I can't even speak a certain kind of way, all right, unless I actually tried to. Because I grew up around that environment, I can't even speak a certain way. All right? But they want to say that we're the worst of the worst and we're this and we're that. No, nigga. We took what you gave us from the bottom of the barrel and we took it to the top. Okay? That's why you got Jakes that got so much success. Jake got so much success in this slavery. All right? They forget about their own people. They're like, shit, I done made it. I'm cool. You know, so this man got a lot to pay for. Exodus 21:16, Revelation 13:9, Isaiah 47, all right, Psalms 137, Psalms 149. This man has a lot of scriptures to pay for, man. Okay, but he gonna call himself the Jew of the Bible. To the Jew first, and then, man, you got to. I'm speaking too much. I'm gonna let him finish.
It's not a Jewish belief.
Okay, I just want to check.
Yeah, no, we're not.
It's not a Jewish belief that the Messiah was a prophet, man. It's not a Jewish belief that the Messiah, Hamashiach, was a prophet. Meanwhile, there's countless of prophecies in the scriptures that he spoke.
Not into, we're not into miracle stories. No, that's
no?
not. No.
You don't have any miracles?
No, not by Jesus. Right?
No?
They're ones in the Old Testament.
Ones?
Yeah, you've got Moses splitting the sea and all that.
What do you think?
Oh, this is a good one. Because like I said earlier, and I got the scriptures from Moses, Masha. He said, oh, you got Moses splitting. Moses passed for an Egyptian. Your forefathers wrote in the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary that the Egyptians are so-called black. How are you a descendant of the same family tree of Moses, which you are through Esau? Okay, but how are you a direct descendant? You're saying you're the Jews, which the Jews encompass Judah, Benjamin, Levi. Moses was of the tribe of Levi. How are you saying you're the same as Moses when Moses was a Levite and Moses passed for an Egyptian? His sister would have been the same skin color as him. His sister was made leprous, white as snow. Okay? Joseph passed for an Egyptian. Paul, even 2,000 years ago, more than 2,000 years ago, passed for an Egyptian. How, man? But these are not going to be questions that Vocab Malone, Dr. Eric Mason, Dr. James White the Edomite, K-Dub, all right? Jesus is the third G-man. All right, Lord forbid I bring up Yahawah. All right, I bring up that nigga name, G-man. These are not going to be questions that they actually answer, man. This truth is out there. Nowhere in the time period of my life when I was in Christianity did I ever fathom. Mind you, I never had an image in my head of so-called Jesus, okay? For me, I was in an evangelist church, so-called black church. They tried their best not to put up images. But I never pictured Jesus being so-called white. But neither did I ever expect that the scriptures would be talking about me. Even though I knew Daniel and the lion's den. I knew David and Goliath. Like I actually lived it. Like I was actually there in that time period. I knew the stories. I knew I was in the class. And I remembered those stories. Like it was the back of my hand. And nobody else will remember. None of the other kids. But I'll be like, yeah, David did this. Okay, you got the song, I would dance like David did. All right, Daniel in the lion's den. Okay, I knew about the 3 sons that offered a wicked sacrifice and shit like that. I knew about all that shit. I knew about all of it. The so-called white man, he don't even look at the scriptures like that. He just looks at it and says, "Oh, well, this is history, and this is okay. This is history." We looking at this book and saying, "No, this is prophecy. This is gonna happen. This is happening, and this has happened." Okay, motherfucker said, "Oh, we don't believe in Yahawashi was a prophet." How the fuck are you Jews? Not all the Jews discredited Yahawashi. Some of them followed him. Where are the some that followed him? Is it Jews for Jesus? It can't be. But then he gonna turn around and say, "Oh, well, even going back to the Old Testament, oh yeah, Moses split the Red Sea." We gonna see. This is why we say the so-called white man is the most carnal man on the planet. Here it is. You can't fathom how wind blows. I can't go to the end of the earth and say, "Oh, look, this is where the end, or this is the beginning of wind." The wind starts from here and it blows all the way to the other end of the earth. I can't say how a man can put his seed into a woman and it just does all that shit, and then 10 months later a baby comes out. All right, and then a couple years later start talking and start walking. I can't say how that happened. Okay? I can't say how the sun rises. I can't say how a chameleon will get on a leaf and it'll change into its background. I didn't create that. Yet this devil gonna say, "Oh, well, Moses, yeah, when he created that miracle, actually it was a natural phenomenon." You damn right it was a natural phenomenon. But who created nature? That's why the scripture says, "Who changed the truth into a lie and worship and serve the creature more than the creator?" These motherfuckers, yeah, okay, we looking at all these things that are beautiful, okay? Even the TV comes from the ground. It comes from the elements of the ground. But who created the elements of the ground? This is why we say the so-called white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. He gonna turn around and say, "Look, I'm a Jew," but at the same time, Moses didn't split the Red Sea. Okay? It was actually just, the electrons and the neutrons. Okay, they did some other shit and they was fighting it. Electrons, neutrons, and it was a split. Motherfucker, you ain't never seen no sea split in your life. I was in the Navy. I drove Navy ships, drove them on countless amounts of water. I ain't never seen no sea split in my life where you can see the bottom of the sea. You looking at the soil and shit. I ain't never seen that. If I seen that, I'm not gonna say, "Well, it must be the electrons today. It's a natural selection and it's nature." I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna get on my knee and be like, "Yo, I'm gonna pray to the Most High," because that's something that you cannot explain. The Lord did that, man. The Lord did that. So when he did that, the children of Israel be like, "Oh shit, this is the Most High bringing us through here." The Lord didn't say, "Oh, okay, you're going to go to the Red Sea or the Gulf of Suez, and it's going to be a boat right there. You just get into a boat." Motherfuckers going to be looking like, "Okay, yeah, all right. God said, he going to deliver us, but hold on, it's a boat right here." Actually, the boat, we kind of hop on the boat. No. That's why Jeremiah 14:16? We ain't even going to be talking about Egypt no more. We're going to be talking about these chariots that we going up in, man. And Esau's still going to be talking shit. The rest of the Edomites in Europe, all throughout the world, in Japan, Asia, China, Russia, Germany, Czechoslovakia, wherever, okay, Czech Republic, all these Edomites, they gonna be talking shit because these people are the most carnal people that's on the face of the earth. That's why it tells you that the seed of Cain, the descendancies of Cain, all right, they started building weaponry and shit like that. That's what they into, man. They into things that they can physically see. Okay, look, I did this, and I can physically see the result of that. You pop your woman and you have a seed, you can't see what's going on in that woman's body, all the DNA and stuff like that. But Esau, he created cameras. Okay, you can go up there and we actually checking. All right, we're making sure the X and Y chromosome and it's 23 and it's 23 or whatever, man. That's what he does, man. This man needs confirmation. For me, I didn't need no comfort. I didn't need no DNA test. I need to go back all the way to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I said, oh shit. I believe in the scriptures. I believe in what I could do. I believe that I'm special. If you ask me, I believe I'm better than fucking Michael Jordan or LeBron or whatever. I believe in shit like that. You feel me? So anyway, I just wanted to make this short video. I'm gonna come back to it, and with that, I'm gonna just say shalom, man.